Hello and what's up, RSC Pokemon Challenges fam? Welcome back to the Roxanne Minimal Battle series, the series where we're just eliminating Pokemon left and right because they can't defeat the first gym leader on Minimum Battles. I had somebody get into the comments like, what are you doing? Of course you could beat Roxanne if you just got to the same level as her ace Nose Pass. I was like, dude, that's not what we're doing here. We are fighting only required trainers, only the minimum number of battles that is required, and seeing how many Pokemon can actually beat the first gym leader in Gen 3. And I'm telling you right now, it is not looking pretty. We have had 61 Pokemon manage to find a way through legitimately. 11 Pokemon have managed to get through with struggle strats, including in that last episode where we got that Slowbro to be the first Pokemon that has ever actually successfully struggled against Roxanne. From beginning to end, it actually knocked her Pokemon out only with struggle, but that was thanks to curse strats. Everything else in that struggle column has pretty much struggled against like Rival 1 or the Puchinas or something, and then had good moves for Roxanne. So definitely those struggle Pokemon are still going to be here, but I think that Slowbro deserves a special mention above the rest of them. On top of that though, you can see that 108 Pokemon have gotten eliminated. They have gotten completely crushed, and that's not even counting the 20 member picks that are up in that pass column. Those are Pokemon that were also saved by channel members after being in the fail column. So we failed with 128 total, more than double the number of Pokemon that have actually passed. Now I've made a couple slight adjustments to the overlay I'm going to throw out before we get into this one. A lot of members have been reserving Pokemon in advance, so I've gone ahead and thrown them into that upcoming member picks section. For the case of things like Tentacruel and Ninetales, we've already seen them fail, so I'm going to be getting them into this episode. But for the other Pokemon up there, we haven't actually tested them legitimately yet. These are just ones that people think are going to fail and they want to support. So we're going to get to those as we would naturally get to them in the series, and we're going to run them naturally once, and then we'll give them the extra egg moves and TM moves, etc., to save them as member picks if they fail legitimately. So if you are considering becoming a channel member, just note that any of those that are in that upcoming member picks section are currently unavailable. They have already been selected by somebody else. With that being said, if you want to join a channel membership and there's a Pokemon you want to grab right now and throw it up into that reserved member picks so that nobody else comes in and grabs it before you, go ahead and think about joining via the links down below. You can join on YouTube, you can join on Patreon, either of them is fine, and you can choose a Pokemon to support in the series. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get into today's action, which I predict is going to be rough. We're coming in with 18 Pokemon. That includes Farfetch'd, Doduo, Dodrio, Seel, Dewgong, Grimer, Muck, Shuckle, Heracross, Sneasel, Teddiursa, Ursaring, Gulpin, Swalot, Carvanha, Sharpedo, Wailmer, and Wailord. And of all of these Pokemon, I'm going to predict that we get through with 4 of them. I think that we will get through with the Dewgong because I'm pretty sure it's going to have an Ice type move. And I think Stab Ice will be enough to get through the 2 Geodudes, and we'll find some way to survive against that Nose Pass. I also think that the Gulpin and Swalot are going to get through because those Pokemon actually learn Bullet Seed in spite of the fact that they're not grass types. I think it's just going to come down to how many times we hit with the Bullet Seed, but I think they have a chance. Then I think Wailmer gets through because water, but I'm not sure if anything else gets through because I think the rest of these Pokemon are going to get terrible early game movesets. And I'm not confident that anything can pull off something like what Slowbro did last time with the struggle strats. So we'll see, but I'm really not feeling confident at this point. I want to like dramatically undersell expectations at this point based on how Roxanne has gone so far. But we won't know until we test these things out. So let's get in with that Farfetch'd first. Maybe it gets some sand attack strats. Maybe it gets some other cheese that allows it to get through. Let's get into this and find out. Now, one other thing, people have called for the original aspect ratio, so I have put it back to that for this episode. That seems to be the consensus in the comment section, so this is the way we're running. Sorry for black bars, but this is how we're gonna go. Now, Farfetch'd comes in with just middling stats across the board. The only thing that this Pokemon usually has going for it is the fact that it learned Swords Dance, but I'm not sure we're ever gonna get anywhere close to that move, so I think we're probably getting wrecked. But who knows? Maybe it shows me something that I didn't expect on the moveset, but I'm very suspicious that it's only going to get something like Peck and maybe Sand Attack, maybe Growl. And I don't think that will be enough to get through here. Still, we don't know till we test it, so let's just see if we can get this to go or not. So here as we pick up our Farfetch'd, we know Peck. Yeah, Peck's not gonna get us through Roxanne, I can tell you that right now. So unless we get some crazy level up moves, this is not going to work. And here it seems like the overlay broke with the moveset, so I'll just show it here. We will learn Sand Attack at level 6, Leer at level 11. We're not getting anywhere close to Fury Attack here. So Sand Attack is gonna basically be our move. We won't get Leer until we actually beat Roxanne. I don't think this one's gonna work. Now, I'm pretty sure that the moveset just broke because of the apostrophe inside of Farfetch'd's name, so I'll get that fixed at some point in the future. But for now, I think we just go fight the rival and feel some pain as we get through this one. So here against May, of course, she'll lead off with her Mudkip. We're just going to sit here and spam Peck. We do have enough damage output that even with a Growl, we get a 4-hit KO, so we get through that one just fine. We're going to get through Poochyina's just fine in this one, but let's jump ahead to Hiker Devon. We might have to throw on Cut to have more PP and a slightly stronger move, but even that I don't think will be enough to get through here. So I will grab Cut in this one just to have some extra PP in case I need it, but I'm going to try to take on Hiker Devon as I am first. Let's just see how this goes. I imagine we're spamming Sand Attack on the 2 Geodudes and then just trying to peck them down, but we probably don't have enough PP for that, so we might end up having to struggle here. I'm going to give the Oran Berry, and let's just see if this gets the job done or not. And if it doesn't work, then we'll try Cut, and if that doesn't work, then we'll try Struggle here. But I don't think we're going to get through very easily. Let's find out. So Hiker Devon attempt number 1, we're going Sand Attack the whole way at the beginning because we want this Geodude to not be able to hit us for as many turns as possible. And I highly expect we're going to have to use up all the PP later on, so we may as well just go for -6 accuracy right here and then spam Peck and just hope that it manages to get us through. This is incredibly tedious. We're taking 4 damage per hit when it does hit the tackle, and we are doing 1 damage per hit with Peck. We get a nice crit there. We have to use the Oran Berry already on the first Geodude though, so we get to level 8 as the second Geodude comes out. We have 15 Pecks remaining. I'm going to, of course, Sand Attack here a lot first to reduce the damage that I take. I don't think there's really any difference between Sand Attacking immediately and Sand Attacking after doing some damage. Like, Peck is going to do 1 damage no matter what here. But here I've used up all the Sand Attacks so that I can get to Struggle after I use them all up. We're just hoping he stops hitting me. And unfortunately, no, we get wrecked. So looks like Sand Attack strats do not work there. I guess we can go Struggle strats, but I'm not feeling super confident. Let's see though. In this case, I'm just gonna hope that the Oran Berry carries me. I'm gonna go in with no PP and just spam the Struggle from the beginning so we do maximum damage. We can see Struggle is doing about 4 damage per hit, making this a 6-hit KO before he Defense Girls. We do get a nice crit there, so we get through the first Geodude as we use our Oran Berry. Second Geodude we've leveled up. We're now doing 5 damage per hit, so this is a 5-hit KO before the Defense Girls. Still not looking great, but we may be able to just get this one to work. Instead, we get to 1 HP and we knock ourselves out with Recoil. Oh, Hiker Devon is a wall. And if you're thinking, like, just set up some Sand Attacks and then you'll get through him, I don't think that that works. I think that we would need to hit him while we still have some HP, number 1, and before he sets up all the Defense Girls too. So I think we only get through this fight with crits. I think that's the only way this works. We get a nice crit there, so we do manage to get through on the next attempt against Hiker Devon. But that does not inspire any hope for Roxanne at all, because Roxanne's Pokemon are going to use Rock-type moves. And there's just no way that we could stall them out enough turns, I don't think, to actually survive with this Farfetch'd. Like, there's just no way. So I'm going to give the Oran Berry. We're going to go in with PP the first time so that we can at least use Sand Attack and maybe try to cheese. But I'm telling you right now, this probably isn't going to work. So Roxanne, attempt number 1 right here. Let's go for the sand attack on the first Geodude. We do get the Rock Tomb miss. That's nice. Maybe if it misses Rock Tomb a few hundred times, we could get through. When it hits Rock Tomb, we go down in a single hit. And because of that, we know that we can't struggle here. We can't use Peck here. Like, Peck's going to do like 1 damage per hit. We can just verify that that is the case. Yes. So, yeah, you get 1 damage per hit and then you get immediately KO'd by the Geodude. There is no chance for this Farfetch'd to actually progress in the game, so we're gonna eliminate it right there. Farfetch'd is gone. Now again, because the moveset isn't showing properly, I'll show the correct moveset here on the screen. If Farfetch'd got access to Swords Dance, that would certainly help, but the problem is we need a move that would actually give us a chance to KO against those Geodudes. The entire problem is that we're getting 1-hit KO'd here. So yes, you could go for Sand Attack into Swords Dance and then try to set something up, but I'm just telling you now, it wouldn't be pretty. If we had a Swords Dance into Steel Wing, that could work for us. Maybe you combine that with a Feather Dance to have some way to lower the attack of the opponent. That could certainly work, but ultimately I think Mud Slap strats come in as move tutor moves, because you could lower the accuracy and deal damage at the same time, set up the Sword Stances, maybe throw on a substitute in front of that in order to protect you in case you get hit. But yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot on this Pokemon's moveset that would be that good. We could go for the Iron Tail with the Sword Stance, maybe that works, but I'm not confident that anything actually gets this Pokemon through. Swagger strats with a substitute might work, but that would be very, very luck-based. Yeah, Farfetch'd looks pretty sus on these settings, so I'm not sure that that one will ever work out, but you know, if somebody wants to make me try, join the channel membership. Anyway, with that, let's move on to Dodrio. Let's see if our other normal flying type stands any chance here. Now, of course, Dodrio's claim to fame is its much higher attack and much higher speed. The speed is not going to help us in this one. The much higher attack might. We'll just have to see, but I'm not sure that we're going to get through with this at all, given the fact that it is a normal flying type Pokemon. Who knows? Maybe something like Fury Attack allows us to at least get some lucky ranges against Roxanne. Maybe we can take down Devin easier. We'll just have to see, but I'm really not feeling confident as we come through this one. Of course, it all depends on the starting moveset, so let's just see what we actually get. We get Peck, Growl, Pursuit, and Fury Attack. Okay, wait just a second, because Pursuit could deal some nice neutral damage. Still, I think early on, probably going Fury Attack is the best play. It can hit multiple times and deal damage with each hit. So, you know, in theory, if you get a 5-hit Fury Attack, even if it's only doing 1 damage per hit, it would do 5 damage to the opponent. But Pursuit might be the only play that actually does anything for us against Roxanne. We're just gonna have to see with this one. I'm not feeling super confident. Now, I will also change the ability to Early Bird just in case we do get through, since obviously the runaway is not really useful in a solo challenge, but let's just see if this does anything for us. We're gonna take on that Mudkip rival first. So May leads off with Mudkip here. I'm just going to go for Fury Attack. We get a nice 4-hitter and just easily get the victory. So yeah, we're definitely moving on with this at least. And again, I don't expect to have any troubles with the random Poochyinas. I'm going to get straight to Hiker Devin and see how he goes, since I think he's going to be the spot where we kind of see this one break down. Now, it should also be noted, people have sometimes said, why did you go against this rival versus a different rival? I do have the ability just through Game Hook to change which rival we're up against. So if we win against the wrong one here or against rival 2, we can always come back and retest them. I think the rival 1 fights are close enough that they're not really going to make a difference in 99% of cases. But for the rival 2 fights, definitely we're going to see a big difference. I keep saying rival 2, but I mean the one that's on the route up next to the cycling road as we make our way to Mauville. At that point, we may be having to actually adjust the rival in order to go up against a bigger challenge. So definitely drop in the comments if you think I make a mistake on the rival setup, because at least we can fix it in the next section. I can control a lot of details of Pokemon through the setup that I have. The one that I still haven't figured out is shininess, but in general, other settings I can make on the fly if I do make a mistake and need to change something. So we'll just keep an eye on that as we progress in this challenge. But for now, we're just gonna let this Dodrio feel kind of good getting through a Team Aqua grunt. But now it's on to Devon, where I think it's gonna start to struggle, and this is going to probably be pain against Roxanne. So here against Hiker Devon, the first question is, how much damage do we do with Pursuit? Here, this move does 6 damage, so it would be a 4-hit KO. That's going to be better than the Fury attack, I think, because I think at best Fury attack's going to do 5 damage. Yeah, it's doing 1 damage per hit. So going for the Pursuit is the superior play here. We end up getting a 5-hitter, but we do manage to knock that one out. We get to level 8 right here as the second Geodude comes out. I'm just sticking with Pursuit since the defense curls aren't going to matter. We can actually take that one down pretty easily with the Pursuit. The problem is that Pursuit is a fairly weak dark type move, and we do not have the dark typing on this Pokemon, so I just don't see any way that it's actually going to do enough damage to actually get us through here. We'll test it and see, but I'm pretty sure we're just getting wrecked by Rock Tombs. Maybe we get some sort of crazy luck, I don't know. So Roxanne attempt number 1 with Dodrio. I'm going to lead off with Pursuit. Let's just see the range. And here we did 6 damage. That makes this one a 6-hit KO with Pursuit. And we can see that a single Rock Tomb took us down to 2 HP. So while we can hit Pursuit here and deal damage, the problem is we have no accuracy strats, and we don't really have much luck, I don't think, with going for the Growl. Yeah, now it just does 20 damage to us instead of 28, but we still are basically only surviving a couple hits here before we get wrecked. So there's no range where we use like the Growl and we end up getting, you know, less than 2-hit KO'd here. Though if he does go Defense Curl enough times at the start and get a Rock Throw miss, wait a second, we are getting like crazy luck here with this Geodude never doing anything against us. We can get it all the way to -6 attack, so we took 10 damage from the Rock Tomb. Now let's go Pursuit. We get a critical hit. It misses Rock Tomb again. Now we take another 10 damage. We've got to heal with the Oran Berry. We get Rock Throwed, and now she potions. And that is basically the end of the fight, because while she's missing like every other attack, we still get completely wrecked there because Pursuit doesn't do enough damage. There would be no point going for the Fury attack. It's only going to do 1 damage per hit here. So that doesn't work. And you might say go for Struggle. The problem is, even if we go for Struggle, compared to Pursuit, like that's just not going to do that much more damage and have recoil. And we already see that we're not surviving against the Geodude. Like that was god tier luck to get that many misses in a row from a Geodude and get her to use Defense Girl the first 2 turns. And if she goes Defense Girl against the Struggle, we're just getting wrecked. So this one clearly doesn't work. And if Dodrio's out of there, that means Doduo's out of there. It's not going to get anything better than this. It's not like, oh yeah, magically Doduo is actually the superior Pokemon. I think this one is done. If we could get to Tri-Attack, we would have some chances with status. But honestly, something like Steel Wing is probably the best actual chance of getting through this fight if I had to guess. That or going for a Hidden Power typing that is super effective against the Geodudes. Something like a Hidden Power Grass or a Hidden Power Water. That's the best I can think of for this Pokemon. Otherwise, I think it's getting wrecked. So we're gonna have to move on without Doduo as well because, yeah, it's just not going to get through this. So coming back to our results so far, we just throw 3 flying type Pokemon directly into the fail column because, yeah, did you expect them to get through? I didn't expect them to get through. We kind of knew they were getting wrecked, but at least now that they're in there, we can move on in the game. Now I think we should get to our water types. We've got the water and water ice, of course, with our Dewgong. We've got the Sharpedo and we've got the Wailord to try here. And we're also going to throw in that member pick Tentacruel that has been saved, finally getting access to a water type move. I think it's going to have a chance to get through here. So let's get some Pokemon that are hopefully easy out of this one. And now of these, Wailord was the one that people in the comments had the most confidence was going to get through. So I'm going to start off with that. Then we'll step to the Sharpedo. Then we'll go to Dewgong. Then we'll look at Tentacruel. And assuming that the evolved forms of these water types get through, we'll step down to their unevolved forms. Let's just see how this goes. Now, Wailord comes in with massive HP, massive attack and special attack, very low defenses, and very low speed, relatively speaking. So I'm not sure how this one's going to go, but I expect it to be a damage sponge, so that should be fine. We just have to see if it actually gets a damage dealing move that is good against Roxanne. If we get something like Water Gun, Bubble, I think we're perfectly good to go. If we don't, then we're probably getting wrecked. That's my prediction on these Pokemon. I've actually been surprised at the number of water Pokemon that have failed in this section just because the devs didn't see fit to give them a water type move. I mean, we're talking Golduck, Tentacruel, not getting a water type move at this point in the game, causing them to completely get destroyed. So I don't go into these water types just assuming that they're going to have a move anymore. Grass types seem to be a little bit more consistent about actually having something to get through here. Still, we'll pick up our Wailord and let's just see what the moveset is. We are coming in with Splash, Growl, Water Gun, and Rollout. There we go. That makes me think that the Wailmer might just know Splash and Growl though, which is really nerve-wracking. But at least here with the Water Gun, we're good to go in this fight. And we've got Rollout. So we've got a strategy against May 1. I think we're going to get all the way to Roxanne pretty easily here and hopefully be able to get the victory. But let's start off by seeing how May goes with the Rollout strats here. So May attempt number 1, I'm just going straight for the Rollout. And as long as this builds up, we're going to get an easy 3-hit KO there and easily move on to the game. We get to level 6. We're in the fluctuating level group, so we're going to get, I think, more XP right now, and then it's going to be worse later on. We'll just have to see how that actually works out for us. There are, of course, no level up moves in this section of the game, so I'm not super confident. It looks like Whirlpool comes in at level 19, and it looks like Rollout is before Water Gun on the moveset, which is a little nerve-wracking because that probably means that the Wailmer is going to get Rollout and not Water Gun, which could be really terrible in this section of the game since the Geodudes do resist the Rollout. But maybe Rollout builds up enough that it actually works. I'm not sure. We'll test that when we get there, but for now, I'm just going to go for the Water Gun all the way with this Wailord since that is the obvious play. Now, we can go for either Water Veil or Oblivious on this Pokemon. I think it's probably better to be Oblivious and be immune to attraction rather than being immune to burns, because I don't know how many Pokemon are actually going to try to burn a Wailord. Tell me if that's an incorrect assumption in the comments. Maybe there's a strategy where we're more likely to get burned or something, but I think we'd rather not get attracted by things and lose turns. That's my logic right now, though I'm not sure how often the attract strats will actually be a problem for us. Let's just see. Now, at least the fluctuating level up group is really good in the early game, so we're all the way up to level 10 here. That should give us additional chances against the Roxanne fight since we're only 2 levels lower than the Geodudes. I expect the Water Gun to completely destroy them, and we'll be at a decent enough level when we get to the final Nose Pass that we should do good damage, even though it's only 2 times super effective with our Water Gun. Let's just see how this actually works out with this Pokemon. So Roxanne attempt number 1, we're faster than the Geodude, of course. We can just go for the Water Gun and get the easy victory. We level up here to level 11. That brings out the second Geodude. We hit Water Gun and get another easy 1-hit KO. That gets us to level 12 as Nose Pass comes out. I'm going Water Gun. It did slightly less than half. It did 17 damage. So this is going to be a 3-hit KO. She Rock Tombs right there and uses the Oran Berry. She's also got potions. I actually think this might be a good spot to set up Rollout. On the basis that Rollout will double damage each turn, sure, she can set up Harden and things like that, but I still think Rollout will build up and do a lot, and it's just because she has those potions, we can get her to really low health again. Now at this point, I think I'll just go back to the Water Gun though. Water Gun's probably the faster approach there, but we do ultimately get the victory, so hey, we'll take it. Roxanne goes down on the first attempt. Maybe Rollout strats can work on the second rival as well. We'll just have to see, but at least for now, Wailord gets through. We'll check in on Wailmer a little bit later after we look at these other fully evolved water types. But with that done, we're now going to go for Sharpedo, coming in with really good attack and really good speed and special attack, but nothing in terms of defenses and just kind of meh HP. This one's really going to depend on the moveset. If the moveset is good, we have a chance. If the moveset is bad, we do not. We're basically playing as a Team Aqua Grunt here. Let's just see how this one actually works out for us. I will say it's a cool looking Pokemon, at least in my opinion. Like, you know, a shark Pokemon was definitely missing from Gen 1 and Gen 2. I just don't know that we're actually going to get moves that work here, though. Let's find out. So Sharpedo is coming in with a starting moveset of Leer, Bite, Rage, and Focus Energy. Okay, I think this might work specifically because of Bite. Focus Energy plus Bite could be good in allowing us to get some flinches here. Now, we have the Rough Skin ability, so if things hit us, they will take damage apparently. So that also could be kind of interesting, though I'm not sure how much effect that will actually have as we go through the run. But I'm just a little bit like cautiously optimistic here. Let's see how May goes. So here against May, I'm going to focus energy first, and then I'm just going to start biting. We are getting a little chip damage on the opponent when they hit us with tackle, but bite just one-shot there against the Trico. So at least our high attacking stats do seem to be helping us here. Maybe we have a chance to actually get this one to work out. For now, I think we'll easily get through the Puchitas since we've got Rage and Focus Energy. I just think we'll be fine there. I'm sure they'll tackle us enough times to allow us to build up Rage. So let's get to Hiker Devon and see what kind of ranges we're getting at that point with the bite. We are in the slow level up group, so we aren't going to gain as many levels here in the early game. So here against Hiker Devon, we're going to go Focus Energy first. He Defense Curls, but that won't matter against Bite. And it looks like we get a two-hitter here with a nice flinch as we get to level 7. Out comes the next Geodude. We Bite, nearly getting the one-hit KO. It's just a two-hitter as it Defense Curls again, and we get to level 8. So at least we've gotten through that fight really easily. It looks like we do a lot of damage with the Bite. Maybe we've got chances here just because we've got such good offensive stats against Roxanne. Of course, our speed is really high. She's going to have to hit us with a couple of Rock Tombs before we can get to the point of being at least in a speed tie with the first Geodude. So this might not work out. I'm going to give the Oranberry here, and let's just test it to see. Flinches might be the actual key here. So Roxanne attempt number 1. I'm going to lead off with Bite here just to see. We get really good damage there. About 17 damage. This might be a two-hitter on the first Geodude. We just missed the range, but it's really close. Here she has to potion, and we're just going to knock this one out after that. We did use the Oranberry there, but we get to level 9 as the second Geodude comes out. We might need some really high damage rolls to get through, but the flinches are helping, and we might just need like 1 or 2 flinches on each of those Geodudes to get through. We make it to Nose Pass. We're currently slower than this Pokemon, and we get tackled down, but this might just be about flinch luck on the first couple of Geodudes. We do like that we're forcing her to at least use the potions before we get to the Nose Pass, though this time she didn't use the second potion, and we get Rock Tombed down from there. So we're going to need better health on that final Nose Pass. She can occasionally also just go for a random Defense Curl turn 1 with the Geodudes, which also allows us to get to Nose Pass with our Oranberry still on. It goes for the Harden this time. Now it goes Rock Tomb though and ends me. So we're going to need a lot of luck there. I think we actually have to outspeed the Nose Pass in order to get through. We like the Rock Tomb miss. I'm going to set up Focus Energy here. We get hit eventually, unfortunately, but we do take that one down. Back to the second Geodude. I think we've got to get through that one without getting a hit in that case. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to set up Focus Energy first, hoping for a Rock Tomb miss. And I'm going to reset for that level of luck. If she goes for a Defense Curl, we'll also continue with that. We get a Rock Throw miss this time. We get the critical hit to one-shot the first Geodude. Second Geodude comes out. We get the flinch, and then we knock it out. We've actually made it to the Nose Pass on full health, and we're out speeding. We bite, we get hit by the Rock Tomb. It did 19 damage to us. We get block after that. Here, I think we're going to need crits to get through this one. She Oranberries, and then she wrecks us. So that that seems to be where we're running into the problem, is on the Nose Pass itself. Like, if we could get some flinches on Nose Pass plus crits, we might have a chance there, which I think is only legit because of the fact that we have the focus energy. So while it's not going to be pretty, it should be possible to get there on that sort of setup. The second that she goes for one Rock Tomb, we're slower and we're getting wrecked. We did force the Oranberry and the potion from her that time. We just couldn't quite get the luck. This time we get a flinch on Nose Pass turn 1. We get a flinch turn 2. It finally goes Rock Tomb though and gets a critical hit to knock me out. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's brutal. And honestly, at this point, this might be a spot for the Quick Claw over the Oranberry. I'm not sure the Oranberry's doing enough for us here, and we might prefer the random luck of hitting first and getting a critical hit on that Nose Pass if it does hit me with a Rock Tomb. And I think we just have to get to the Nose Pass on full health. That's basically my strategy now. We've seen it happen multiple times. I have managed to get to Nose Pass on full health due to misses and flinches on those first two Geodudes. So I just have to see if I can get the luck this time. So this time we're back to the Nose Pass. We get a nice crit turn 1. We crit again turn 2 and get the flinch. She still has both of her potions though, because we didn't force any of them from the earlier Geodudes, but we're getting crazy crit luck here. We need a Quick Claw at this point. She does go for the potion there, but anything less than Quick Claw luck, we simply lose. So I've tested this quite a bit. I don't think that that fight's 100% impossible. It's just going to require crazy crits and crazy flinches. Like that last attempt against Roxanne, I got more crits on the Nose Pass than I have managed in any of these attempts so far. It still just did not work out. So I'm eliminating Sharpedo here and by extension Carvanha. But again, I'm saying Sharpedo probably can get this to go if you just reset enough times. The fact that it is dark type, so that bite is stronger here, is helping quite a bit. It's just not quite enough to actually get through. I think you level this Pokemon up to Crunch though, and it crushes here. And of course, you give it any water type move, Surf, Waterfall, Water Pulse, and I think it completely crushes here as well. So take that for what you will. For now though, this Pokemon is joining the fail column. And that means Carvanha goes into the fail column too, because I just don't see any way that it's going to get through where its evolved form didn't. It doesn't get focus energy until level 13, which it wouldn't reach, so it wouldn't have the chance at the higher crit rates. I just think that Pokemon would also get completely eliminated here. So that's going to bring us to our Dewgong, which has better defense and HP relative to its attacks. Not super fast, not super slow, so it's probably going to be kind of meh here. The bigger issue is the ice typing giving us the weakness to rock. That may not be enough to actually get us through here. We're just going to have to see. It all depends on the starting moveset though. I expect that we'll get something like Aurora Beam. If we get that, then we at least have some chances against those Geodudes, and we might need some attack drop luck against the final Nose Pass. The extra defense and HP will help a little bit there, I think, but I'm not sure it's actually going to be enough to get through. Maybe we need a crit or something at that point. I'm not sure. This is one spot where Nose Pass being a pure rock type could be a disadvantage for these ice type Pokemon. Still, let's just see. We come in with Icy Wind and Aurora Beam, so I think we at least have chances. We've also got Headbutt if we're faster. Here we can probably just Headbutt against the Zigzagoon, and yeah, we're just going to move on with this. Now, I debated what rival to go up against. I decided to go up against the Mudkip line on the basis that they will resist our ice type moves and our water type moves will at best be neutrally effective there. Ice would be super effective against the Trico line. Water would be super effective against the Torchic line. So I just felt like this would be the toughest rival. Tell me if you think I'm wrong down below. And I should also note, at least as far as I can tell, it seems like Thick Fat is the only ability that we have on this Pokemon, so we're just stuck with that here as we go through this run. So here we are, May attempt number 1. I'm just going to Headbutt on her little Mudkip. This looks like it's going to be an easy 3-hit KO. Tackle doesn't do that much to us, so we get through nice and easy. And then from here, we've got our Stab Ice moves, so I think we're perfectly fine to go against the rest of these trainers. Funny enough, with the Icy Wind, we can go for our own speed control, so I'm not sure we'd ever want to outspeed against the Pokemon on Roxanne's team. There could be a niche spot where we're just about to get a KO, so we lower her speed once so that we can get that advantage. I'm just not sure that it's ever actually going to work out, but for now I think we just run Aurora Beam for the rest of this section. So here against Hiker Devin, at least, we can test Aurora Beam, and it looks like it's one-shotting against his Geodudes. So that gives me some confidence that this move will at least one-shot the 2 Geodudes on Roxanne's team. So it's just going to be about the Nose Pass. Maybe we can get some luck with some misses from the Rock Tomb or something like that to get through. I'm honestly not sure. We're slightly faster than the Nose Pass right now, though I don't think it would make much of a difference. I'm going to start with the Oran Berry here, then we might test with the Quick Claw even, just to see if maybe there's a situation where that gives us an advantage after the Rock Tomb. But let's see if we one-shot against these Geodudes or not. So first up, let's just go all in on Aurora Beam here. Aurora Beam does not one-hit KO the first Geodude. I'm going to go for the Icy Wind after that, and we get the speed drop. Hey, we forced her to use one of the potions at least, so I think that's fine. We level up right here to level 9. Maybe we get the one-hitter on the second Geodude. I'm not sure. Here, we do not, but it just goes Defense Girl, so that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to spam some Icy Wind to finish that one off. We get to level 10 here as we get to the Nose Pass, and this is where I'm going to go for Aurora Beam first. We see that we did 8 damage there, so this would be a 5-hit KO at this range. It goes Harden against me. It's not going for Rock Tomb just yet. It finally hits there. We take massive damage. 21 damage as she uses the Oran Berry. We're now slower, but she's just going to Rock Tomb me down from there. So that's kind of nerve-wracking. It doesn't look like we one-shot the Geodudes, and it doesn't look like we quite get the range on the Nose Pass. Now for the Geodudes, we might be able to go for a Headbutt into Aurora Beam strat, basically banking on a flinch right here. I think we have to reset if we don't get the flinch. If we get Defense Girl, we're probably fine. We can try Aurora Beam after that. It's just not going to be enough on the first Geodude. We might have to use that Headbutt strat on the second Geodude. This time we get the Rock Tomb miss from the first Geodude, so we do manage to knock that one out. Second Geodude, we're going back to Headbutt here. We get the flinch. Let's see if Aurora Beam does it there. It does not, so we get Rock Tombed, and we're still faster. We can knock that one out. At least we're slower than the Nose Pass at this point. Maybe that helps us. It goes Harden turn 1. Maybe we should Growl at this one to reduce its damage output. Now we can go Aurora Beam, also hoping to get less damage. It goes for a Tackle there. Now she Oran Berries. I'm going to Icy Wind to lower her speed to see if I can hit first and deal some significant damage. We get a Rock Tomb miss, another Rock Tomb miss. Now it hits the Rock Tomb, but we survive only to get Rock Tombed again there. This is really close. There is a chance that we could get this to go. It's just going to be kind of luck-based to actually get it. I think we'd prefer to just get a Rock Tomb miss from the first Geodude and let her use the potion there so that we can knock that one out. Second Geodude, I think it's the same story. We get the Rock Tomb miss here, so she is using both of the potions before we get to Nose Pass. Here, I'm going to Growl at this one first to reduce the damage that we take from the Rock Tomb. I'm going to go really hard on the Growls here in order to get its damage output down as low as possible because I do have the Oran Berry on still. And now I'm going Aurora Beam, and we're just trying to take this one down. We get a critical hit Tackle. That was really bad. She heals, and we get a critical hit that knocks us out. I was about to go for the Icy Wind there to try to outspeed and then knock her out the last turn. It just didn't quite work out. But clearly this takes a lot of luck with some Rock Tomb accuracy. She can go for Defense Curl on these Geodudes some percentage of the time as well. So that's basically the luck I think we're resetting for to try to get through with this Dewgong. And at this point, I think the only play is to go Aurora Beam and hope that she goes for the potions on these Geodudes. This time, we just knocked the second Geodude out. So we're back to Nose Pass, where again, I'm going for the Growl immediately to try to lower its attack stat as much as possible. We're going to get this one to -6 attack before we do anything else. Here, we use our Oran Berry. She does still have a potion and her own Oran Berry, which is a problem. We get a nice crit there. Once again, I'm going Icy Wind right here with her on low health, and then Aurora Beam to finish it off. So we do manage to get through Dewgong. I think you do want to go the Icy Wind when it gets on fairly low health so that you can go back to the Aurora Beam and knock her out after that. Maybe Icy Wind gets the job done there. I'm not sure, but it's basically about trying to make sure you get that last hit before she gets a chance to get a crit against you or something. It in the end works out with Dewgong, but it is just barely working. It's very close. Still, we got it to go. So Dewgong gets to join the pass column. Now let's check in on that member pick Tentacruel before we look at the unevolved forms of Wailmer and Seel, who may or may not be able to get through. We're just going to have to see. So channel member Crissiboi is coming in to support this Tentacruel, which failed here because it only had Poison Sting, Supersonic, and Constrict. No, we're going to give this one a much better moveset. Instead, this one is now Coolio the Tentacruel, coming in with a quiet nature, and we have Sludge Bomb, Confuse Ray, Aurora Beam, and Sword Stance. Now, I think the strategy is pretty simple here. We're going to go for the Confuse Rays first. I don't think the Aurora Beam's going to one-shot against the Geodudes. We'll check to make sure that that's the case, but if we weren't one-shotting with the Dewgong with Stab, I don't think we're going to one-shot here without Stab. But then against the actual Nose Pass, we don't have any weaknesses to rock here, so I think we can set up a bunch of Sword Stance, maybe use this Sludge Bomb to try to KO that Pokemon with some poison strats. Aurora Beam should be decent. Let's just see how this actually works out. So Roxanne attempt number 1 right here. Let's go for Aurora Beam on the first Geodude. Yeah, it's going to be a 2-hitter. We get Rock Tombed. That's perfectly fine. We'll just knock this one out after that because she's just going to Potion. Second Geodude comes out. I'm still just going to stick with this strategy for now. We use our Oranberry right there, but we can knock this one out nice and easy. That gets us to the final Nose Pass with 22 HP and no weaknesses here. I'm going to Confuse Ray this Pokemon. I'm going to use Sludge Bomb to try to poison it. It hits itself in Confusion. Now it goes Block, but really we're just going for the poison status here. Unfortunately, we get down low enough, it does Rock Tomb us, so we lose, but let's try this one again with some Confuse Ray strats on the first Geodude. So here we can confuse the Geodude. It hits itself in Confusion. That's perfect. We're going to Aurora Beam after that. It snaps out of Confusion, but goes Defense Girl. I'm going to take this opportunity to Sword Stance while she uses the potion there, and then we'll just knock it out after that. We get a nice Rock Tomb miss, so perfectly fine there. Let's now see how we do against the second Geodude. We're again going to confuse this Pokemon. It goes Defense Curl. That's perfectly fine. We'll just go for the Aurora Beam. We get a crit, so we knock that one out nice and easy. Now I'm going to Confuse Ray on the Nose Pass. It hits Rock Tomb. We take decent damage, but that's fine. I'm going to set up now with these Sword Stances here as it hits itself in Confusion. Now let's just see what our Sludge Bomb does. It's not going to be great because it has set up some Hardens as well. It snaps out of Confusion there. Here we'll go ahead and reconfuse this Pokemon as she misses a tackle. Let's just see what we do here with our attacking moves. She goes for the Oranberry. We go for the Oranberry as well. Let's just try to Aurora Beam here, but we see that Aurora Beam really doesn't do great damage on this Pokemon. At this point, Poison is our best play, but the Sludge Bomb's doing decent damage with everything built up. It's going for Rock Tomb against me because I'm on low health though, so I do lose. Let's try this one again. We still haven't gotten Poison on that Nose Pass. Here we finally get Nose Pass poisoned. I'm gonna go Aurora Beam for the chance for it to reduce its attack stat. We can reconfuse the Nose Pass when it snaps out of Confusion. Unfortunately, it just manages to knock me out, but I do think this is eventually going to work with the poison status there. This time Nose Pass gets a critical hit Rock Tomb though, taking us to 13 HP, and at that point I don't think we can win. We can see with a single crit it's got us in a 2-hit KO range. This time we get the poison on to Nose Pass fairly early, but then it critical hits Tackle and Revenge. We do manage to heal with the Oranberry, but at this point I think it's just going to go for the Rock Tomb against me, so we're going to need some crazy Confusion luck. She also had a potion left over, and unfortunately we once again get wrecked there by that Pokemon. I think it's all coming down to bad luck with crits though on that final Nose Pass. If it doesn't crit me, I think we simply win once we get the poison on, so I'm gonna reset for this for quite a while to try to get it. So this time she still had one potion for the Nose Pass, but she's already used the Oranberry. She is poisoned. We're trying to get her to hit herself in Confusion, which she does. We've gotten it to low health, and finally we managed to get through with this setup. I think if we had thrown Surf on, we would have done much better there, but at the end of the day, you can get this one to go. It just requires a lot of Confusion and poison status luck on the final Nose Pass, especially because we're basically getting 3-hit KO'd by Rock Tomb there, but ultimately it does work out. So with that, let me just give a massive thank you to Crissiboi for supporting this Pokemon, crumbling Roxanne's defenses, and we're just gonna have to see. In the next section, I think we can take on Brawly immediately with this one, because we can definitely just go for the Swords Dance into Sludge Bomb strats. We'll have to see how this actually works out on Watson. At that point, we might actually have to put on the move Surf because of the Magneton. Like, we can't use Sludge Bomb there. Aurora Beam's going to be resisted there. So that's not going to be a great situation. We're going to have to see about upgrading our moveset in some way at that point in order to get through. We will get Bubble Beam, but not until level 25. So that probably won't be in time for that fight if I have to guess. But maybe I'm wrong. But honestly, I think that's the only thing that could potentially get us through. I'm not sure. But we'll just see when we get there. For now, Crissiboi, thank you for your support. Thanks for saving Tentacruel. Coolio is moving on. So with that, we're ready for Wailmer, which of course just comes in with lower stats than its evolved form Wailord. The question is, do we get Water Gun? If we get Water Gun, I think we're good to go. If we do not get Water Gun, I think we get wrecked, because I don't think Rollout's going to be enough for the Geodudes. I think we'll take too much damage in that case, but we'll just have to see how it actually works out. So let's just see what Wailmer actually gets. Yeah, we start with Splash and Growl. Oh, this is already terrible. Oh, the splashy boy trying to be a Magikarp out here. This is gonna be pain. Of course, we cannot defeat the first Zigzagoon. We get Water Gun at level 10, so that would be the level at which we defeat Devon's Pokemon. So we're gonna have to struggle everything up to Devon to have a shot at this. And I think you would just spend a massive amount of time trying to reset and use potions to use up all of the PP here. I'm not sure that this actually works, but for now, let's just see if we did get to struggle strats, how we would do in this section. So against the Trico, we can struggle against this one. It looks like a 3-hit KO with struggle, so we're gonna get the win there. We get to level 6. Fortunately, we will not learn any new moves until Water Gun, so we don't have to worry about that messing with struggle in any sort of way. Like I said, though, I'm really just not sure that you would actually get through with this. We may have to actually do a Wailmer try to struggle to Roxanne run one of these days, but for now, I'm just gonna allow the struggle strats because I'm sure it would work eventually with enough resets and running away from things. But yeah, definitely not pretty as we get into this. We should be able to take down the Poochynas just fine, though. It's really Devon where this is going to get interesting. So let's just see how that actually works out. Now, as we go into the Devon fight, I'm going to make sure to give an Oranberry because I'm not sure how this is going to go. But let's see if we can struggle down his Pokemon. So here, we're just going straight for the struggle strat. We see that we did about 5 damage there. So this is going to be a 5-hit KO on the Geodude before it goes for any defense curls. Once it goes for defense curl, of course, it's reducing our damage quite a bit, but we've got massive HP. So we can manage to get through that and get to level 9. Second Geodude comes out. We've still got the Oranberry on. We get a nice crit there as well. So as long as this luck holds up, we will get to level 10 and get access to Water Gun just in time to go and fight against Roxanne. We know that we wouldn't be able to struggle Roxanne down with this Pokemon. We've seen stronger Pokemon fail to struggle her down, but now with the Water Gun, we might actually have a chance. We're going to be faster than the 2 Geodudes and probably 1-hit KO them. And then it's just going to be a question of how we do against Nosepass. Do we need to go for the Growl strats? Can we just go all in on Water Gun? I'm not sure. I'm gonna just keep this Oranberry on and let's see if this works. So Roxanne attempt number 1. I'm going to put Water Gun in the top slot. Let's use that move and get the 1-hit KO on the first Geodude. We get to level 11 right here. Second Geodude comes out. We knock it out as well, and that will get us to level 12. Now it's Nosepass time. Let's see what the Water Gun does. It did about 13 damage, making this a 3-hit KO. We get hit once by the Rock Tomb, but then we get a crit, so we win. Oh, there we go. Wailmer. It's a struggle Pokemon, but man, it gets through Roxanne. We'll come back. We'll do one of these full game solo runs with the Wailmer line at some point. So we'll actually test out struggling and using up all our PP against things before we take on that Trico. Once you get through the Trico, as long as you've got enough HP, you can knock out youngster Calvin, though. You can pick up Oranberries and just slam them in order to get HP back. So there are ways to get through, I think, after you get through the Trico. I think you're still going to have enough healing to be fine. But yeah, this is definitely not a pretty setup for this Pokemon. It's in the struggle column. Let's now check in on Seel and see if it ends up there as well. So Seel, of course, comes in with low speed and low attacking stats, and our defense is also not great, but we don't have the ice type. So that could help us significantly here, but it also means that if we are using ice type moves, we're going to deal less damage. So I'm not sure how this is actually going to work out, but let's get into this and find out if it's possible or not. So Seel comes in knowing only Headbutt. We have to hope that we get some level up moves here, and we do not get to Icy Wind until level 17. Are you kidding me? Oh no. Well, we can basically say that Seel is done because without Icy Wind, at least, it's not going to be able to get through Roxanne. We'll run it as far as we can, but I think it's going to hit the wall just when we get to Devon. Let's see how this goes. Now, of course, against the Trico rival, Headbutt is perfectly fine. It's 70 base power, so it's way stronger than Tackle. It's going to get a 3-hitter here as we easily get through that Pokemon. We should get through the Poochyenas as well, so it's really just about Hiker Devon, where I don't think we're going to be able to even put a dent in him with the Headbutt strats. Maybe we can manage to get to the point where we, like, knock him out with Struggle there or something. So I think we're getting Growl before that, so that's not really going to work. Let's just see, though. Now here against Hiker Devon, I think the biggest problem that we have is the fact that Headbutt only has 15 PP. So I don't think it's going to deal enough damage to get us through both of his Pokemon because we're probably doing no damage here. But let's just see. We get the flinch turn 1. We get a nice crit after that. But yeah, he's taking like no damage here. I've got the Oran Berry on so we can heal. I don't think Lepa Berry helps us because we're taking too much damage from his attacks. We're basically banking on flinches here and then hoping to get to Struggle to knock this one out. We're on like 3 HP as we get to the second Geodude and go Struggle here, and that's not enough HP to actually knock that one out. So we can try going in just with Struggle from the beginning, and here we see that Struggle is doing 3 damage per hit, making these 8 hit KOs before he goes for Defense Curl. So that's brutal. Like, Seel is not getting this to go, because if we can't even beat Hiker Devon with the Struggle strats efficiently, we're definitely not getting through Roxanne's Pokemon with this setup. Like, we level up to level 8 here, but it's just not going to be enough as this Geodude is going to outlast our Struggle and knock us out. So I think we can just call it right there with the Seel. It does not get through even Devon on Struggle strats, so it definitely doesn't get through Roxanne. Now, I'm willing to bet that if we fought every single trainer in this section of the game, we might be able to get enough levels to get Growl at least, and maybe just at higher levels we could actually knock things out, but here this doesn't work, so Seel is eliminated. So coming back to our results so far, kind of interesting with those water types. Of course, the Wailord and the Dewgong managed to get through, though Dewgong was a little bit on the cusp. That Tentacruel also managed to be saved by a member pick, and Wailmer joins the Pass with Struggle column because it has to struggle on everything until exactly Roxanne. Fortunately, it gets Water Gun right there and has a chance. That is clutch that the Water Gun comes in just in time for this Pokemon. However, the rest of our water types got wrecked. So you're seeing, if you look at the fail column here, an awful lot of Pokemon that have that water typing but just don't have any water moves to actually be able to progress in the game unless they're a member pick and we throw on moves that are actually same type. The water type really gets some disrespect from the devs. I'm just saying. Anyway, with that done, I'm going to now get into my poison types for this episode. Let's look at our Grimer and Muck and our Gulpin and Swalot here and just see how those Pokemon go. They're kind of similar in design in some ways, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see if they can find a way through this section. But at least for Grimer and Muck, I don't think they have any shot whatsoever. Still, we'll check in on Mucky Boy and see if we can run amok on the gym. So Muck comes in with massive HP, massive attack, meh defense, really good special defense, and then really low speed. So I think it might have some chances here. It's certainly not going to take as many Rock Tombs, so there is that. The question is just, do we get any move whatsoever that gets us through this? There could be like a minimized poison gas strat that actually works here, but I don't think we'll get minimized until much later in the run. So I don't think that's going to come in, but I'm just saying right now, I'm really not confident that this one's going to work out. Still, I've put Muck into the Torchic ball so that we'd go up against the Mudkip line. Later on, they'll have the ground type, which will resist our stab with poison. So I think this is the way to go. Let's see the starting moveset of our Muck. We come in with Poison Gas, Pound, and Harden. Now, Poison Gas could get us some luck here because we could get the poison status to knock things out. And maybe just maybe, with the Harden, we can survive enough turns to let the Poison Gas do its thing. Now, I'm not sure what is the best ability, but I'm going to go with Sticky Hold just because Stench really does nothing for us. Like, we have wild Pokemon turned off here anyway by default, so we're not going to worry about wild Pokemon running into us. I guess if you were a speedrunner, you'd be happy to get fewer wild encounters, but yeah, this is really not going to be great. Looking at the level up learn set, we're going to get Disable at level 8, so we will get there. Sludge isn't until level 13. We will not gain enough levels in the medium fast level up group for that, and then we don't get Minimize until level 19, so we don't have anything else really to use. Maybe we could disable a Rock Tomb and get through that way, but really it's not going to look great. So here, let's just see how we do against May. I think we just pound the whole way here. Since we'll do decent damage, we've got that high attack stat, so we do manage to get through that just fine. And our high HP could put in some work. I'm going to jump ahead to the Hiker Devon fight just to see how that one goes. So here against Hiker Devon, the strategy is simple. I'm going for Poison Gas first in order to poison the Geodude, and then I'm going to spam all of the Hardens right here to have as much defense as possible so that I hopefully don't take any damage from their tackles and we can just let the poison do its thing. Once we get these 6 stages of defense set up, now we'll just go into Pound with the poison. We will be able to take that first Pokemon down. We get Disable via level up here. We'll Poison Gas on the second Geodude. It goes Mud Sport. That's perfectly fine. But here I've got all the defense set up. I don't think we need to mess with any disable strats. Just go straight for the pounds. We don't care how much damage Pound is doing. This is all about the poison damage taking the opponent down. And it does work out against Hiker Devon. So there could be a chance here against Roxanne if we can land the poison immediately in the fight. And maybe we get some like defense curls from them that allow us to set up all of our own defense. And then we don't take any damage while poison just slowly takes her Pokemon down. I'm not sure, but we might have to disable some moves or something to get through this. Let's test this and see. I think Oranberry is required because we're just trying to survive as many turns as possible. So Roxanne attempt number 1, I'm going to try to Poison Gas turn 1. I think we can reset anytime the Poison Gas misses on the first turn. And ideally we want Poison Gas to hit and to get a Rock Tomb miss. That's what we're really looking for on the first turn of this fight. This time we do at least hit Poison Gas. She still Rock Tombs doing 13 damage to me. We are slower now, so I'm just going to take this chance to set up all the Hardens. As long as we at least get the Poison Gas there, she goes for Rock Throw here, dealing some significant damage. She just seems to mix that in randomly. But here we did get her to use her first potion, and now we're just going to pound and let Poison do its thing against this Geodude. Here Rock Throw is doing 3 damage to me. We get a level up to level 9 as we get to the second Geodude. We're back to using Poison Gas here. We get Rock Tombed, but then we do manage to get the poison. And now we're just going all in on the attack here, just hoping that she'll go down from the poison damage. The fact that she mixed in some of her Rock Throws though is kind of a problem because we're taking some pretty significant damage there. That's why I think we need to get the Rock Tomb miss turn 1 so that we can at least set up some Hardens before we get hit by any damage. Of course, she could also miss with Rock Tomb and Rock Throw, but we're definitely banking on that sort of luck to get through this one. Now, maybe it's worth going Hardened first just to reduce damage, but I do think we're going to need a lot of luck on this first Geodude. It seems like no matter what we do, we end up using the Oranberry on the first Geodude, which is kind of bad, but we do level up here against the second Geodude. We're currently faster. We can hit the Poison Gas there. Rock Tomb does 3 damage. And now with it poisoned, we're just going to go all in on Pound here and just hope to knock this one out. She should end up using her second potion here, which she does. So we might actually get to the Nose Pass this time just because she's not dealing enough damage. We get to level 10. We have 15 HP on this final Pokemon. We'll go for the Poison Gas right here. We get it poisoned. Now we're just spamming Pound and hoping that poison does its thing and that we can survive enough turns from her using Harden and things things like block, tackle here is doing 2 damage per hit. So at this point, we do manage to win with Muck. It just barely works there, and it requires getting at least 1 turn against the first Geodude where it doesn't hit you with a Rock Tomb on the first turn. It can go for Defense Curl, that's perfectly fine. You just can't take the Rock Tomb there, and you're hoping that it gets stuck on using Defense Curl after it goes for the Rock Tomb so you can set up all your defenses, and you gotta hit that Poison Gas. Still, we get through barely. I don't think Grimer's going to be able to match that because of its lower stats. We'll just have to see. But for now, hey, Muck, it continues in the game legitimately. So that brings us to Swalot or Swalot. Tell me the proper pronunciation of this one. And we are coming in with, I think, better defenses than we just had with the Muck and still high HP. But the big difference is that we're going to get access to the move Bullet Seed. So as long as we can get through the first 3 trainers, we should be fine after that. Let's just see what the starting moveset is. Currently, I've got Liquid Ooze on as the ability, but let's also see if there's any change needed there. So just like Muck, I've got this one in the Torchic Ball, but here we're coming in with Pound, Yawn, Poison Gas, and Sludge. Stab Sludge is definitely the way to go here in the early game. It's going to deal more than enough damage to everything. So let's just see if we can manage to get through, get that Bullet Seed. I think if anything, we might replace Poison Gas with the Bullet Seed just to have that other strategy. Now I'm going to go Liquid Ooze with this one rather than Sticky Hold. I'm not sure how many opponents are trying to use Thief or Knockoff or something in order to get rid of our held item. Tell me if that's a mistake in the comments below. Here for May, though, we've got the Stab Sludge, which I think is going to be a perfectly viable strategy. We get a 2-hit KO on that Pokemon getting to level 6. We are in the fluctuating level up group, so we'll be a little bit better here in the early game than we were with Muck with that as well. And we'll see if we can manage to get through fights without the Bullet Seed, but definitely with Bullet Seed, I think we'll get through Devin and Roxanne. And sure enough, we get access to Bullet Seed here. I'm actually going to throw this on immediately, and the reason is because Sludge is 4 times resisted by the rock ground types, so I don't think that Sludge will be enough to get us through. I also don't necessarily think we need Poison Gas because Sludge already has the chance to poison opponents. Yawn will allow us to put things to sleep and get some ranges, and Pound is just a normal type move for coverage. I think we get rid of the Poison Gas here, throw on the Bullet Seed, and now this should work out pretty easily. At worst, I think we put the Geodudes to sleep and then Bullet Seed them down. And same for the Nose Pass. I think that strategy is going to work, but let's see what kind of range we get against Devin. Now, normally I would try to avoid slamming on the TM. I'm just throwing it on because I see no other logical way that we really get through. Like, we might be able to get through Devin with the Poison Gas strats, but definitely not on Roxanne. We don't have something like Harden to boost our defense, so I think this is the best play. So here, let's just see how we do against Tiger Devin with Bullet Seed. Yeah, we get an easy 2-hitter on the first Geodude. We get to level 9 right here. We could learn Poison Gas via level up. I'm just going to skip it here. And now let's go back to Bullet Seed on the second Geodude. Once again, a 2-hit KO, but I think if we just get like a 3 or 4 hitter, we'll probably take out the Geodudes. Then we'll just have to see what kind of range we get on Roxanne's Nose Pass. But at that point, I think the sleep strats will be enough for us. Still, let's test this out and see if we can manage to actually get a victory on the gym leader. I will give the Oran Berry here to have some healing because we probably will take a Rock Tomb at some point, but let's just see if this works or not. So against the first Geodude, I'm just going to go Bullet Seed. It looks like we need a 3-hit KO to knock that one out. Still, we have decent odds of getting a 3-hitters, so that should be fine on these 2 Geodudes. We managed to knock both of them out on the first attempt. Now, against the Nose Pass, I'm going to go Yawn turn 1. Since we are currently faster, it's going to Rock Tomb. We're now going to be slower, but hopefully it just goes to sleep and then allows me to hit Bullet Seed a bunch of times. We see Bullet Seed's not doing a ton of damage here. The 4-hitter did about 40%. She uses the Oran Berry there, and she does still have the potions because we just knocked out those Geodudes super fast. Here, when Nose Pass wakes up, we'll take this opportunity to set up Yawn again, and now go back into the Bullet Seed spam. Of course, we know she still has 1 more potion, so this is a little tedious, but it is going to get her in another potion range with the 5-hitter right there. And now with no healing left and asleep, I think we're going to be able to just cheese this one down. She wakes up and goes for a tackle out of spite, but it's not enough. We easily win, getting to level 13 with our Swalot. So that was a nice, easy one. I think Gulpin's gonna have a chance here as well. We'll just have to see what his starting moveset is, though. It might start with just Pound and Poison Gas and be a little less good against the randos, but still probably get to the Bullet Seed and be fine. But before we do that, let's check in on Grimer. I think we're gonna eliminate that Pokemon, but we'll just have to see. So we get to Grimer, a very slow Pokemon with meh defense. Its HP is higher, but not great. It's not like it's evolved for Muck. That's why I think we're probably getting wrecked. We're probably going to take too much damage from things like Rock Tomb, even after we set up Hardened, assuming we get Hardened here. I'm guessing the moveset will be pretty similar. I just don't know that we're going to have the turns to survive against Roxanne, which might make this one really, really bad. Still, I think we'll get to Roxanne thanks to Poison Gas strats. I'm pretty sure we'll have Poison Gas at the start. And as long as we do, we should at least have chances against Hiker, Devon, etc. But let's just see. So here, yeah, we come in with Poison Gas, Pound, and Harden, kind of what I expected. Against the first Zigzagoon, we can just go Pound. I think Pound and Poison Gas are enough for everything pre-gym, though we will just check the range on Devon just to see how much damage he's doing. But after that, I think that Roxanne's probably going to end us. The one advantage that we might have is that it might be that we end up being slow enough that we don't really take that many Rock Tombs from the Geodudes. And maybe, just maybe, then we can end up in a situation where we can set up an awful lot of our Harden before they actually go for that move too often. But I think we're resetting for a run against Roxanne where they go for like Defense Girl turn 1 or get a miss in order to actually set up anything there. We'll check in on that once we actually get to the gym though. So first up, we make it to Hiker Devon, and this is a little bit of a viability test. Let's just see what happens when we Poison Gas the Geodude. It goes Defense Girl, which is exactly what we would want to see. And now we just spam Harden over and over again. After one Harden, it did 4 damage with a tackle to me, but I'm just going to set up all of the Hardens here on the first Geodude. Fortunately, we don't have to reset up on future Pokemon, so now we can just go to Pound, and this first Geodude goes down pretty easily. We get to level 8, we learn Disable, so at least we have some strats here. We can now poison the second Geodude. I'm just going to go Pound from here because I think we've got enough HP with the Oran Berry to guarantee that we get through this one. We could try to disable Tackle. I just don't think it's worth it. We easily get through on the first attempt against Hiker Devon without even using the Oran Berry. So who knows? Maybe this actually works out on Roxanne. I'm just worried that the Tackles are going to get down at best to doing like 3 damage per hit to us, and the Rock Tombs are probably going to do a lot more. We're currently in a speed tie with the first Geodude though, and that might give us the advantage because it might not want to Rock Tomb against us. Let's test this and find out. So Roxanne attempt number 1. I'm going Poison Gas turn 1. We win the speed flip, but unfortunately we had to miss. And then when it hit Rock Tomb, it took us down below half health and we already had to use the Oran Berry. Here we do finally poison the Geodude, and now we can go for Harden like crazy. It's going Rock Throw here. We're getting wrecked on this first attempt. Let's try this one again. In fact, it might be better to go for Harden right off the bat because we're in the speed tie. If we win the speed flip, we'll just set up Harden turn 1. I just think this will save us a lot of HP from when she randomly goes Rock Throw here. So we're on +6 defense at this point. We already had to use our Oran Berry. We poison the Geodude now, and we get a critical hit Rock Throw that ends us. Let's try this one again. There is an argument for trying to disable Rock Throw if it ever like misses or something against us. I'm going to go for 2 defense buffs, then go for the poison on this, and then we'll go back to our Hardens. So here it goes Rock Throw. I'm going to try to disable that move. We do. So now it would be stuck with Tackle instead if she wants to actually damage us. Unfortunately, she snaps out of disability. I'm going to re-disable Rock Throw right here and go for the Pounds. Unfortunately, Disable just doesn't last long enough, so we simply get to the second Geodude on lower health. It's going Defense Curl. We're faster than this Pokemon. It Rock Tombs right there. We get Rock Throw and we get Rock Throw again. Here's here's the big difference. With the Muck, we could get Rock Throw down to doing 2 damage per hit. Here it looks like at best we're getting it down to like 3 or 4 damage per hit, but we also have lower HP. So while this probably could work with infinite resets, I don't think that it works within reasonable luck. The first Rock Tomb already gets us to have to use our Oranberry, which was not the case with our evolved form. And without the Oranberry still on, at least for the second Geodude, I just see no way that we would actually get through with the Grimer. So on that basis, I'm eliminating this Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, plenty of moves I think could save this Pokemon and make it better. Give this one Giga Drain and I think we're good to go. Give this one Dig and I think we're good to go. I did not realize this Pokemon could learn Dig in Gen 3. That's nuts, because Grimer in Gen 1 would have loved to have that move. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Grimer's simply out of there. Let's check in on Gulpin instead. So Gulpin comes in kind of looking similar to Grimer in a lot of ways, but again, it's going to get access to that Bullet Seed. I like how this Pokemon's poison type, but it kind of looks like it was meant to be a grass type originally. And I think that if we can just manage to get 2 Bullet Seed with this one, I think we're going to be good to go. I find it really weird that this is one of the few non-grass types that learns the move Bullet Seed. Like, why specifically does Gulpin learn it? Octillery kind of makes sense since it is based on shooting things, so I'm sure it could be something like Bullet Seed for that Pokemon. Maybe it's not actually seeds, but something very similar, so they just called it the same move. But Gulpin, it just doesn't seem to scream like I should have Bullet Seed, and yet it does. Here we come into this section though with the Pound. We can easily get through the first couple of traders, I think. We're going to learn Yawn at level 6 and Poison Gas at level 9. We should get both of those moves. We will not get the Sludge in this section, at least not until we beat Roxanne, but still, I think this is going to be perfectly fine with this moveset. Here against Rival 1, we can just go Pound. It's not like we're doing great damage, but we will win the damage race thanks to being a Max IVs Pokemon, as all of these are. The whole logic behind running Max IVs here is just to establish possibility, because obviously if the best version of a Pokemon can't get through this section, then no version of the Pokemon could. The only case where I'm going to manipulate IVs is specifically for member picks when they want certain hidden powers, or when we do the Unknown episode that's coming up. The entire logic with Unknown is going to be that we need to test all of the different hidden powers in order to see what gets through. I'm going to be doing that in a future episode, but my basic logic is going to be this. We're going to start off with an Unknown that has the worst typing against each opponent. Obviously, in some cases, that will mean that they cannot damage that opponent and they'll have to go to struggle. And in some cases, that will mean they're just dealing resisted damage. But I want to see if the weakest Unknown's hidden power typing could get through at any specific point. If so, then we would know that all other Unknowns can get through. However, I think by the time we get to Roxanne, we'll have to look at least neutrally effective typings to have any shot. Unknown with Psychic is the best neutral typing because of the fact that it's Stab. So we'd probably look at something like Dark or Dragon or something there in order to see if we could get through with a weaker Unknown. And then we would test the super effective Unknowns, the ones that are using hidden power Ice for the 2 Geodudes or hidden power Steel for 2 times effectiveness against everything. And we just want to arrive at a list of all of the hidden power typings on Unknown that can actually get through that fight. Still, that will be for a later episode, though I'm past Unknown in the Pokedex. I just need to find a time where I actually feel like throwing that one in with all of the other Pokemon, since we are going to have to run an awful lot of Unknowns in that case. But I might just end up running one Unknown, but just changing its hidden power over and over again on different battles in order to test different situations. So definitely tell me what you think, but we are going to end up with an Unknown Dex that gets through this section of the game. Still, we managed to get to Hiker Devon with our Gulpin, so let's get back to this action where we can see that it's a 3-hitter on the first Geodude. We level up to level 9, we learn Poison Gas, and now we can go for the Bullet Seed on the second Geodude, getting a 3-hitter there as well. So not quite as good a range as our evolved form. That's a little nerve-wracking because we might need 4 hitters to get through the 2 Geodudes on Roxanne's team. Let's see if we do. If we need 4 hitters, that's far worse luck than than needing a 3-hitter, because you got to think a 3-hitter could be a 3-hit, 4-hit, or 5-hit, which is way over 50%. But if you need a 4-hitter or better, I think each 4-hitter or 5-hitter is like 12.5%. So we're talking about like a 25% chance to get at least 4 hits there. Not nearly as good. We're just gonna have to see though. Maybe this works out. We've got the Oranberry on. Let's find out if we beat Roxanne with Gulpin. So Roxanne attempt number 1 right here. We're going to go Bullet Seed on the first Geodude, and yeah, this looks like a 4-hit KO. We get Rock Tombed right here. We can still knock out this Pokemon, but I think we're hoping for a 3-hitter on these Geodudes to force a potion from her, as here we do have to use our Oranberry on the second Geodude. Still, we managed to knock that one out. After that, we get to the final Nose Pass. The question is, are we better off trying to poison this one or go for the Bullet Seed? I'm going to try the Poison Gas strat here first. We do poison it. That will give us chip damage, and she still has 1 potion here. That's why I think that this is worthwhile. She's going to tackle there, but we can use Bullet Seed to deal a lot of damage, force the Oranberry, force the potion, and she's taking chip damage each and every turn. We get a critical hit tackle there, and that might end us unless we get a miss. Unfortunately, we didn't get through there, but without the crit, we might have survived. Let's just try this one again. So here, I think we're hoping for a 3-hit or better on the Geodudes. A 3-hitter will force a potion out of Roxanne at least. Unfortunately, we don't get that level of luck here. We just get a Rock Tomb, and we are still faster than Nose Pass, but we've got the Oranberry. So this time I'm going to try the Yawn strat. She misses Rock Tomb there and goes to sleep. So now at least we can spam the Bullet Seed. We're going to force the Oranberry. We'll hopefully force the potion here as well. Sure enough, we do. And we're keeping the Nose Pass asleep a lot of turns as she goes for the second potion. Bullet Seed is putting in work. She misses another Rock Tomb. Let's just Yawn again. We get Block, and now we can just go back into the Bullet Seed. It finally hits the Rock Tomb but goes to sleep. We use the Oranberry, and just like that, we win. So Gulpin, it's not as consistent as Swalot, especially it doesn't get the same ranges against the first Geodudes, but ultimately it is possible to get through with this Pokemon without too much difficulty thanks to that Bullet Seed. So it's time to go update our results and see how we've done in this section. So at this point, we're now up to 66 Pokemon legitimately passing through Roxanne, and we've added 3 poison types to that with the Muck, the Gulpin, and the Swalot. These Pokemon should do reasonably well against Brawly as well, and it's not like they've got any crazy type weaknesses when they go up against Rival 2. The place where I think they might run into a wall is when we get to Watson, specifically because of the fact that he has the Magneton. If he didn't have a Magneton, I think we'd be good to go. But with the Magneton on the team, he's going to be pretty hard to get through there. We're going to have to see if we can go for some sort of other strat. We might have to go Game Corner TMs at that point in order to get through that fight. We're just going to have to see. But we're actually performing way better than I thought we would at the start of this episode. Like, we've at least gotten 5 Pokemon through and 1 into that struggle column. So really not as bad as I had expected. Now, let's continue this one on, but we're going to go check in on our Ninetales, which is another member pick. We already did Vulpix in the previous section. It turns out that the member who saved the Vulpix also joined over on Patreon to add on another pick to save that Ninetales. Perfectly legit. If you want to join on both platforms and support me doubly, I can't thank you enough for doing that, and you will get access to another member pick. So if that's something that interests you, go for it. I will take the support. I really do appreciate it from you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and run for Roy Merkel, Big Sis, the Ninetales, and let's see how it goes. Now, Roy Merkel asked for a really interesting setup for this Ninetales. Rather than running as a standard Ninetales, he said, what if it were traded back from Gen 6 with the moveset of an Alolan Ninetales? So we're coming in with Sheer Cold, Blizzard, Confuse Ray, and I've thrown on Dig because I think that move's going to be required for Watson. Let's just see how this actually works out. I'm also going to try to set this as a Ice type in battle, but we'll see if that actually works or if I'm just stuck with the Fire type typing here. Let's just see how this actually goes. So first things first, we can try to go for Blizzard here. We miss, we get a Rock Tomb miss right there, but now we hit the Blizzard and we one-shot against the Geodude. That will get us to the second Geodude where we can once again try to use Blizzard and miss, but it misses a Rock Tomb. So once again, we knock that one out in a single hit. That will now bring us to the Nose Pass. I think we have to confuse this Pokemon. I'm not sure if we have enough PP in the Blizzard, but it misses a Rock Tomb again. That is insane. Still, we only did that much with the Blizzard. Now I think we have to go dig, and we just have to hope that it misses enough turns by hitting itself in confusion. It Oranberry's there. We get her on low health, and apparently I put in Blizzard with too much PP. So we're gonna have to try this whole thing again because I didn't actually heal properly. Let's see if this actually works out with proper PP and Blizzard, which should only be 5 PP there. So let's try this setup on Roxanne. Of course, we can't use Sheer Cold because we're at a lower level, so we just have to go Blizzard on the first Geodude. We do get a one-hit KO there. Second Geodude comes out, we hit Blizzard. That's an easy one-hitter as well. Now we get to the Nose Pass. Here's where I think we have to set up Confuse Ray in order to hopefully get this one to hit itself in confusion. It does. We hit Blizzard, and it only does that much. It snaps out of confusion and goes block, though. That's perfectly fine. We still have a couple of Blizzards, so we can put this one back to sleep, go back to Blizzard here. A crit would have one-shot, but it hits itself in confusion. Turns out that when you give this Ninetales Blizzard, it's kind of OP against Roxanne there. I mean, we've got decent special attack. I've also got it set, I believe, to treat me as an ice type in battle. But yeah, that was insane. So with that, let me just give a massive thank you to Roy Merkel for supporting both on Patreon and on YouTube, the double up. And for that, I'm more than happy to give 2 Pokemon to let you support. Roy has been supporting me between this channel, RBY Pokemon Challenges, and GSC Pokemon Challenges for years, which is just incredible. It's the only reason I can be at the point that I'm at right now. I think Roy is like my longest term channel member over on GSC Pokemon Challenges, and like in the top 3 longest term channel members over on RBY Pokemon Challenges. So yeah, just absolutely incredible, dude. I cannot thank you enough for your support. And yeah, we're gonna be running this Alolan Ninetales kind of in Gen 3. Let's see how it goes together with your Vulpix. So with some shenanigans from pretending that it's a different regional form, it turns out that Ninetales is really good there against Roxanne. And I'm just saying, for member picks, I'm willing to try lots of different ideas if you guys have them. It's just my way of saying thank you for supporting the channel and supporting what I do. So don't hesitate to drop crazy ideas, because I like those what if scenarios. What if this Pokemon got this? What if this Pokemon was like this? I think that's really cool. You may disagree, but it's only a short little section of the video anyway, so you know, I think it's perfectly fine. Anyway, with that being done, it's time to get into the remaining challengers for today. We're going to look at that Shuckle, that Heracross. Let's see if these bug types can find some way through. Shuckle on the basis of just having insanely high defense, and maybe Heracross getting a decent move. Let's see if maybe they can get this to go. I'm going to look at Shuckle first. Now, of course, Shuckle comes in with insane defenses, but fairly low HP and low everything else. So I'm honestly not sure how this Pokemon's gonna go, especially with its weakness to the rock type here. Since rock does not resist rock, people can explain that yes, you can chip rocks with other rocks, but still it depends on the density of the rock. And I would imagine that a rock with this much defense would be like diamonds. It would be stronger than other rocks and therefore not really be damaged by them. I think that rock type should only affect the other rock type if the attack stat of the rock type attacking is higher than the defense stat of the rock type defending. I think that would be a really good mechanic, because that is kind of how you actually can chip rocks in the real world based on their relative hardness. And like I said, I think Shuckle would just have the hardest rock of all of them. Still, you know, we're just gonna have to go through this and probably get wrecked by our bug type, but let's see. So here for good old Shuckle, we're coming in with Constrict and Withdraw, the standard moveset of a Shuckle that we saw in Gen 2. I think this will get us through everything except maybe Hiker Devon at this point, but I'm really not feeling great about this Pokemon going forward. We're just gonna have to see how it goes. Now here for May, I think we go up against the Mudkip line on the basis that water will be super effective, grass would only be neutral, fire would only be neutral, so I think this is the harder rival. Of course, here with only tackle, there's no way the Mudkip does anything to us. We can just spam the Constrict until we win because we have such massive defense. Still, everything's at least going to do 1 damage per hit to us, and because of the fact that we have fairly low HP, I'm not sure we can actually survive that many hits, even if we have the massive defense stat. So I'm pretty sure that we're getting wrecked by Roxanne herself. I'm pretty sure that Rock Tomb and Rock Throw will just do enough damage to completely wreck us. Via level up, we will only get Wrap at level 9, which is probably not going to help us too much in this one. I don't think that the extra chip damage from Wrap will be enough to get us through anything. Even with our massive defense, I just think it will take too many turns, and I don't think we're going to be able to struggle against Roxanne because of our pitiful attack stat. Still, maybe an Oranberry makes a difference there. Maybe we find some way through. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not feeling very confident about it. We might need a lot of misses from Rock Tomb at the beginning to set up Withdraw to even have a chance of surviving there. Now, it turns out that the Team Aqua Grunt can be a little bit hard here because of the fact that he goes for Sand Attack, resulting in us taking a lot more damage over time. It's not like Constrict is particularly strong. We should have enough PP to knock this one out. It's just about the accuracy. When he starts setting up lots of howls, we should actually go Withdraw to ensure that he can't do more than 1 damage per hit to us, just to buy extra turns because of the accuracy strats. And it turns out that we can lose that one an awful lot. And I didn't save since May, so we have to run back there again. And after losing to the Rocket Grunt twice, I think we have to give an Oranberry here to have a chance to get through this fight. So this fight is just terrible because we get tons of sand attacks. We take tons of damage from all the times that he does hit us. Once he sets up all of the howls, he can even do 2 damage per hit, which is why we have to go and use at least one of our withdraws here. And at this point, we're just hoping that we can actually land a hit and knock this Pokemon out. We're going to run out of PP on this attempt because he just went accuracy strats off the beginning. Let's try this one again, hopefully not getting an accuracy drop turn 1. And that's exactly what he's doing. So we're going to have to reset till we get the luck to not get that. Tackle turn 1 is what we want to see. Sand Attack, we really want him not to use that as much as possible. Of course, when he does use it, we just have to pray for luck that we actually hit our moves and still deal damage to him. This time we're getting better luck, at least with actually hitting the Constricts. So we do finally manage to get through on the 4th attempt against the Team Aqua Grunt. That does not bode well for Roxanne at all. So yeah, we're probably done in this one, but we'll just test it and see. I'm just telling you right now, it's probably not going to work out. Still, we've got Hiker Devon before we even have to go to that fight, and I'm pretty sure even after the level ups will be slower than even the first Geodude, so we should have some chances. Let's just see if it actually works. So Hiker Devon attempt number 1. I'm just going Constrict here for every single turn. I mean, he's only going to do 1 damage when he hits with a tackle, and the defense curl doesn't really matter because it's only going to do 1 damage per hit too. So I think we win the damage race on the first Pokemon just because he has so many turns where he can use ineffective moves. And you know, if he just mixes that with some misses from tackle, we might be able to get through this one just fine and then get to level 9 where we can learn Wrap on the next Pokemon. Sure enough, we get through, we learn Wrap right here. So the strategy is to set up Wrap. I misclicked and used the Constrict there, but basically any turn that the Geodude is not wrapped, we're going to go back to Wrap because we need that extra chip damage here. When it's released from Wrap, we'll set up Wrap again and now go back to our Constricts together with the Wrap so that we're at least dealing more damage, slowly taking this one down. And we're very close to getting KO'd, but we do just manage to get the victory without having an Oranberry on. So that was kind of nice. Hey, Shuckle, he beat something, but now I think against Roxanne, we get completely wrecked. I think what we would need to win here, if anything works, is to hit Wrap turn 1, get a Rock Tomb miss, set up some withdraws so that we don't take any major damage here, and hopefully get to a point where she can only do 1 damage per hit. That's the best I think we can hope for. Let's test this and see. So Roxanne, attempt number 1. I'm going to go wrap turn 1 as she goes defense curl. That's perfectly fine. Now I'm going withdraw, and I'm going to set up all 6 withdraws here just to be safe. We see the first rock throw did massive damage, 7 damage to me there. Not what I want to see. Now I do at least have all of the withdraws set up, but it looked like Rock Tomb still did 3 damage to me there. Yeah, rock throw is doing significant damage even though we've got the withdraws set up. So I think on that basis, we can say that this fight does not work with Shuckle, that we'll simply take too much damage here because we're getting 7 damage from a single rock throw. And even on +6 defense, I'm pretty sure we just take too much damage. Yeah, this is not looking good. And there's just no way the wrap does enough here. We take 6 damage there from a rock throw. So yeah, Shuckle, he's way out of there. No chance. Let's check in on Heracross. So Heracross comes in with a massive attack stat, decent defense, maybe more speed than what we would want, but really what we've got to see is, do we get anything fighting type? If we get a fighting type move, we might have a chance here because we are only neutrally affected by rock, but I'm not confident that we will. We're probably getting something really bad like tackle or something to start the game, and that's not going to be enough to get this Pokemon through. We'll just have to see how this actually works out. So of course we've got Heracross inside of the Trico Ball here, so we'll go up against the Torchic line, and yeah, we start with tackle and leer. Not sure that's going to be enough with our typing. We are going to get Horn Attack at level 6, so we will get a move. Endure comes in at level 11, but we're in the slow level up group, so we won't get there. Horn Attack is stronger, but it's just not going to be strong enough, I don't think, to get us through this section. Still, we'll see how we go. Maybe we get to Hiker Devon and at least stunt on him. Roxanne, I'm pretty sure, is a wall, though. First up, though, we can take on the rival with her Torchic, where because we have a massive attack stat, we're going to take down the Torchic nice and easy, and that will allow us to move on in the game, though not yet to level 6 because of our slow level up group. We're only going to be level 8 going to Roxanne. Now, there is the possibility of Guts, and it is something that I will test here because people have been clamoring for it. What if you go in with poison from like a Wurmple, heal up with a potion, and then try to beat Roxanne that way? It could be worthwhile on this Pokemon, even as a struggle strat, since we could increase our attack stat at that point. I will test that and see, because honestly, that could be our only potential strategy of getting through with this Heracross. I think Swarm is not the right ability for this one. I think it has to be Guts to even have any shot of trying to get through Roxanne. Maybe Guts Struggle is the way to go. First things first, though, let's see if we get through Hiker Devon with this Heracross. So here against the Hiker, I'm going to go for the Horn Attack. We can see that we did 3 damage there without any defense drops on this Pokemon. We get a critical hit from the Geodude that was kind of bad, but I do think we can probably whittle this one down. Still, its tackles are doing a little bit more damage than I'd like to see. I think we would need an Oranberry on to have a chance here. But I think this is a perfectly fine situation to at least test Guts on our Pokemon. So let's just see what that does. So here I have poisoned Heracross, and we're just going to see how much damage we do with Horn Attack here. We still do 3 damage. Oh no. Now we're also just taking poison damage, so that's not going to work. We're going to need to come in with that Oranberry and test this out again. And we may need to go for some defense drops on the Geodude. So here we go, Leer turn 1 to get a little extra damage on the Geodude. We do have the Oranberry on, and we're just hoping that we can knock this one out thanks to Guts, but no. We get completely wrecked there. Now let's try Struggle plus Guts. I'm not sure you could legitimately get to Struggle because you'd probably just Horn Attack and KO a bunch of wild Pokemon. But let's just see what this would look like what kind of ranges we get on the Geodude here. Here, when we Struggle, we can see we did about 6 damage. So this would be a 4-hit KO at this point. So we do manage to get through the first Geodude, but we're not getting through the second one. So yeah, that's definitely not working. It just doesn't raise your attack enough that it actually makes that much of a difference in the fight, apparently. Still, we can struggle down the first Geodude. We get to the second one. We're going to need a lot of luck with it not attacking me to get through on this one. The Oranberry will help, but yeah, it does not look like Guts is actually good enough to get us through these fights with this Heracross. We get a nice crit this time at least, so we do knock out the first Geodude before we use use the Oranberry, still with poison on. But yeah, I'm still just not thinking that it's going to deal enough damage here. So ultimately, we do manage to get through Hiker Devon. It's really not looking pretty though. So I'm going to go into the Roxanne fight here, but I'm going to tell you right now that I don't think Guts will do enough for us to actually get through, partially because the Geodudes just have way too much defense, so the attack buff doesn't actually lead to that much more damage. Let's see how this actually goes though. So Roxanne attempt number 1, if we come in with normal PP, we go for Horn Attack and we do nothing. 2 damage with that hit. The Rock Tomb does 10 to us. We're going to have to heal after that with our Oranberry, and yeah, there's just no way that we actually survive enough turns to get through that fight. Coming back into the fight poisoned so that we can use Guts this time, we see that we did 4 damage there. Still not looking great against this first Geodude. We use the Oranberry. We're slowly getting chipped down by our own poison, so that does not work. Let's see if we struggle. So here, Guts plus Struggle. The Struggle did 7 damage here, so that would be a 5-hit KO, and we've got poison, and we're getting Rock Tombed. I think we can just basically call it right there. Does Heracross get through? No, it does not. Struggle is not strong enough even with Guts. Guts doesn't raise your attack stat that much to actually make that big of a difference, in spite of the fact that Heracross has a really good attack stat. What it needs is a fighting type move. We give this Pokemon Brick Break or we give it Stab Mega Horn, I'm willing to bet that it can find a way through here, but otherwise I just don't think it gets enough to actually get through that fight. So with that, Heracross is out of there. Let's check in on another tough Pokemon for this section. Let's look at Sneasel. Now, Sneasel comes in as the Dark and Ice type, so we're going to be weak against Rock here. If we get a good Dark or Ice type move, we might be able to get a victory. I just don't think we're going to get anything like that. Maybe we could get something like Feint Attack, but I highly doubt it. And even then, our weakness to Rock is probably too much to overcome here. Our only real claim to fame is speed and attack. Our defense is fairly meh. So I think the Rock Tombs are just going to end us in this one because we're too fast and not defensive enough and weak to Rock. Still, we'll just have to see. We'll pick up Sneasel in the Trico Ball and let's see the starting moveset. Yeah, Scratch, Leer, and Taunt. I'm not sure that Taunt does anything for us here. Scratch is not going to be strong enough for sure to get us through. And we get Quick Attack at level 8. Feint Attack not until level 22. Our first Ice type move, Icy Wind, doesn't come till level 43. Yeah, I think we can basically just eliminate this Pokemon right out of hand, but you know, we'll test it and see as far as it can go. So May attempt number 1, of course, she leads off with Torchic. We could just go for the Scratch here, getting a pretty easy victory to knock that Pokemon out. I think we'll be good against the Poochyinas as well, so I think it's really going to be Hiker Devon who proves to be tough for this Pokemon. I just don't think there's any way that Taunt helps us since they're just going to keep using attacking moves, which is what we don't want to see from the opponent, so I don't think there's any way that Sneasel can actually get this to work out. And honestly, I think this is the type of Pokemon that even if you gave it like Stab Blizzard, it would probably get through the 2 Geodudes, but then have to fish for a freeze on the Nose Pass in order to actually get a victory, because I'm just guessing that Nose Pass completely destroys this one on minimum battles. Like, we probably don't survive at least more than 2 Rock Tombs. Still, we level up here, we get Quick Attack, so we have even more PP to use against our opponents, which would make it even harder to struggle or do anything else, but at least you'd have a better grind trying to get your levels up enough to actually win this fight, I guess. So let's just see if we can even beat Hiker Devon. I think this will require an Oranberry to have a chance. So let's just find out. Here, I'm going to Leer at his Geodude, hoping that he goes for like that tackle. And with 1 Leer, we see we did 3 damage. So we're really not doing much damage here. Quick Attack and Scratch are effectively the same thing for this fight because we're already faster. Like, why do we need Quick Attack when we're already basically faster than everything in the game at this point? And the problem is the Geodude does more damage than we do, so we simply go down super easy. I'm not sure we want to Taunt there either because the Geodude probably just does more more damage than we do. Maybe we can use Taunt in order to force him to like let us set up some Leers. So we'll set up Leer like several times and now go for the attack, hoping that he doesn't defense curl too many times and that we can actually get through this one. We do manage to get through the Geodude that time. Here we're gonna Leer several times on this second Geodude as well, and then go all in on attack and just hope that we can knock it out this way. We do, so we get through Devin that time. Turns out just stopping him from using the defense curl is the way to go. But now we've got to go to Roxanne, and there's really nothing to do. We already know that the struggle strats aren't going to work here, so we may as well just see how we do with our damage dealing moves and how easily we get wrecked by this trainer. So Roxanne, attempt number 1, I'm just going to lead off with a scratch here. She's going to Rock Tomb, and that takes me down to 11 HP. So even if we used the Oranberry, we wouldn't be surviving another Rock Tomb because we just gained back 10 HP. She did 23 damage with the first Rock Tomb. Even if it's arranged to be a 3-hit KO after the Oranberry, there's no way. We don't deal enough damage. So just like that, Sneasel's out of there. Let's check our last Pokemon, the normal type Ursaring. I call it the last Pokemon because I don't think it's going to get through it. I think Teddiursa is just going to get thrown in the fail column. We'll find out, but let's test this and see. So here, Ursaring, normal type, super high attack, decent HP, decent defense, really low speed. If it just had any sort of neutral effective move, I think we would have a chance here. I just don't think that it's actually going to work out for us. We're probably coming in with Scratch. Best case scenario, we might get something like Pursuit. I'm honestly not sure, but even that might be too weak on this Pokemon to actually get us through Roxanne. Who knows? Maybe with Guts, we can actually get something with this one because we don't have any weakness. But I mean, the Heracross was also being neutrally affected by Rock Tomb and just getting wrecked. Here we have Lick though. Okay, wait a second, because Lick could do some neutral damage. I think we go Fury Swipes on everything else and simply get through that way. But the Lick strats might be good in that we can paralyze, but they also might be bad in that we can paralyze and then we just get destroyed by Rock Tomb. So I'm not sure. Let's test this and see what kind of ranges we actually get. Here against May, of course, our strategy is simple. I'm just going to go for the Fury Swipes. We get a 3-hitter and just knock that one out with no damage taken, and we can move on in the game, where we know the Puchinas are nothing against this Pokemon. The question is Hiker Devin. What kind of range will we get there, since Lick is an incredibly weak move? In fact, I need to come back and do one of those 20 base power moves only runs with like a Mewtwo in this generation just to see how bad 20 base power moves actually are. Who knows? Maybe we could find a way through Roxanne with Absorb strats. Mud Slap could actually be a thing. Maybe we go for some Rock Smashes and we manage to get through. I don't know. It's worth testing. We're here for this. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask RBY Pokemon Challenges to come over here and try that one out. Anyway, for now, let's go ahead and just make our way through to Hiker Devin, which shouldn't be too hard in this one, but let's see how he actually goes. We're coming in with Lick strats, of course, which are not strong, but at least it's neutrally effective, though technically Scratch is stronger on this Pokemon because of our same type attack bonus. So I think the real strat is to go for a couple of Leers here and then just start spamming with Scratch and hope that we can take this one down that way. We do in fact take down the first Geodude. We get to the second one where we can go for more Leers. We're just hoping to lower his defense while he like mud sports and things. And then maybe Scratch can take this one down as well due to our high attack stat. It does look like we're getting the range. When we get him on lower health, we can switch to Fury Swipes since it will hit multiple times, and that will give us a chance to get through there. Even when the opponent has the defense curl set up, there is a chance to just deal more damage with the Fury Swipe strat there. Still not looking great. It doesn't look like Lick really does anything for us. Fury Swipes is technically the best move if it hits like 4 times or more. Scratch might be okay, but honestly, I'm not sure we're getting through this Roxanne fight. Let's go ahead and give the Oranberry just to find out, but I'm really not confident. So Roxanne, attempt number 1 right here. Let's go for Leer turn 1. Since we're going to get Rock Tombed, we may as well get some defense drops on this Pokemon. And then let's just see what Fury Swipes does. Here we did pretty decent damage with a 5-hit Fury Swipes. So honestly, that's probably our best play, is to go for the Fury Swipes here. We force her to Potion on the first Geodude at least. Maybe with crits or something, we can manage to get the Fury Swipes to do something. But no, it does not work out there. Let's try again. Maybe we we lick this one, you know, lick rocks in order to try to win. Now she's just going to spam Rock Tomb on us over and over again, and we see we get 3 or 4 hit KO'd by the move. So yeah, you do not want to paralyze the Geodude. You're just getting wrecked at that point. So I think we just are going for some net defense drops here, and then just hoping that we can deal some decent damage with any of our moves. And this does not appear to work. And you can argue for Guts, but the problem again is we're not dealing enough damage that I think Guts makes any difference here, especially when you consider that we would have to have poison, so we'd be taking poison chip damage. That's just not going to work out. So I'm going to knock Ursaring out of here. That means Teddiursa's out of there too. And with that, let's go look at our results and what we've got coming for next time. So coming back to our results, we end up with 66 legit passers through this section, and now 12 Pokemon in that struggle category. So of Pokemon that have gotten through in some legit fashion with their normal moveset, it's 78 total. There are 22 member picks up there, of course, that have been saved from the fail column, but in total, 142 Pokemon have failed so far when you include those 22 member picks and the 120 in the fail column. Next time, we're going to be coming back with more challengers, but I'm telling you right now that this is probably going to be a kind of brutal slate. We start off with the Shelder and the Cloyster. Cloyster I think will get through because I think it will have something like Clamp on the moveset. Shelder, on the other hand, I don't think we'll get any water type moves at the beginning. I think it's going to start with Tackle and Withdraw, and I don't think that's going to be enough. Then we get our Ghastly line, which could be very, very interesting because there will be some like Lick strats. There may be Hypnosis strats there. There could be a way to get through with those, but we're not going to have great defense. So if we get hit by Rock Tomb, we're probably getting wrecked. We're coming in with the Onix and Steelix, which I think are going to be using Tackle and Screech at the start of the game. I'm not sure. I'm just going based off of previous gens. And if that's the case, we're going to have to see if the Screech is enough, give them a chance. After that, we're going to have Unknown. And like I mentioned, we're going to do a ton of different unknowns. That's why there's only 11 Pokemon in the coming up next time category. It's because I know I'm going to spend a lot of time on unknown strats because we have to manipulate all of our IVs to get the different hidden power typings. Now, we're only going to look at these 70 power versions of hidden power next time, so the best case scenario for each typing. And I'm going to be doing it in a kind of weird way. Like I said, I'm going to start off by looking at like the worst hidden power against each opponent and see if it gets through, then look at some neutral ones and see if they get through. And then finally, if neutral and resisted do not get through, then and only then we'll look at the super effective ones. Because if you can beat an opponent with a neutrally effective hidden power, you obviously beat them with the super effective version. We're just going to try to figure out how many hidden powers could actually get through Roxanne at the end. I'm guessing hidden power water, hidden power grass, maybe hidden power steel or hidden power ground or hidden power ice, and maybe that hidden power psychic just because it's same type on the unknown. We're just going to have to find out. Then after all that's done, we will come in with the Numel line and we will come in with Torkoal just to end things out. Some fire types I think are going to get wrecked, but we'll just have to see if that's actually the case. For now, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Thanks to the channel members for their massive support. If you'd like to get in on the channel memberships and support what we're doing here, go ahead and jump into that channel membership here on YouTube or over on Patreon. Even if you want to double up, hey, you know, do it. Get 2 Pokemon. I'm more than happy to run them for you in this challenge. It just means an incredible amount to have the support of all these folks as I try to complete this massive challenge in Gen 3. We're going to be here for quite a while, so strap in, because even after we manage to get through this first section, we're going to be dealing with a little bit of stuff in the next section, and we're just going to have to see how it actually goes. For now, though, thanks to those channel members, thanks to everybody who watches to the end. I will see you in the next one later.